It's been a while. I have not done one of these in probably a year. Never done one on this platform, but gotta get back into drive time. This one is gonna be weird because I can already tell I've been dreading it all day for weird reasons, because it's not gonna be as polished as I want. It's not gonna be as edited as I want. It's not gonna be as clean as I want, and I really, really wanted to switch from the raw style of doing my videos to something a little bit, like I said, more polished, more clean. But I have done the due diligence of building myself such a good village that sometimes they don't allow me to be comfortable, and I appreciate them for that. I appreciate the fact that God put those people around me, and I appreciate the fact that they push me to be uncomfortable sometimes and just do different things without necessarily feeling ready to do it. So this video is all about just men stepping outside of what's comfortable, being decisive, and pushing through situations where you might not feel like you're ready for something. And I have 3 examples of why I had to force myself to do what I'm doing right now. So I've been talking about starting some content, getting back into it for a while. And like I said, it was my hesitation was from a lot of reasons, and most of them was excuses. Like I said, I wanted to have a dedicated space, like studio, to set up and everything. Then I wanted to have a designated format. Then I wanted to have a designated channel and rebranded and all of that stuff. And again, a lot of it was just excuses. And I started watching one of my brothers do it, and he made me miss it because of how much fun it reminded me that it is. And I say that because it's like I wasn't avoiding it. I shouldn't even say that. I was avoiding it for a lot of reasons. Fear being one, and it's mostly because when I try to accomplish anything artistic, I kind of want it to be perfect, and I try to go straight to the end product without going through the rough draft, if that makes sense. So like, even as a DJ, like, I want to be able to do the most, and I have to remind myself to practice and work my way up. So the same was with this. And so watching one of my brothers like do it just on a whim is what it seemed like, and the progress and the way that his channel was coming along, and like I said, it's fun. I miss doing it. When I say miss doing it, like, this would be my first video on this platform, but I have an extensive backlog on Instagram dating back as far as probably 2016. Like, when I say I did this on a regular basis, drive time was something I did every day, multiple times a day. But I think now I want to shift to the YouTube platform. I think it's just better for gaining visibility and traction. And for the messages I want to spread, I think that's the better place for me to be to do it. So that's one reason. I saw a post that one of my other brothers made today, and it said, "You're not waiting for the right time. You're waiting for the fear to go away. It won't." And I'm like, dang, because, like, again, this was something I meant to start last week. It's Monday now. I meant to start on last week on Wednesday, and I did that because my brother that I mentioned the first time kept pressing me. And I don't even think he was doing it on purpose, but knowing him, he probably was. He kept asking me, when you gonna start that? When you gonna start your podcast? When you gonna start it? When you gonna start it? And again, my village that I surround myself with does that. That's why they're there. Because I need people around me, because as the Bible says, iron sharpens iron. I need and I enjoy having people around me that push me. But to be completely honest, the person who really, really made me make the decision to just do it, regardless of how uncomfortable it is my son. My son recently joined the Army. And the way he did it was so impressive when I look at it outside, and I had to look at it outside of the aspect of him being my son. I had to look at it as just the actions he took as a man. He decided at about the age of 17 and a half that he wanted to join the military. Wanted us to sign the papers for him to join early. Parents, of course, we said no. We said you need to wait, think it through, and if you still feel like that when you turn 18, there's nothing we can do. We can't stop you. So he did. Waited, researched it, put a plan in place of what he wanted to do, how he wanted to do it, what his end goal was, 5-year plan, did everything, the whole nine. And then the day of his birthday, he's like, I want to go sign my paperwork. And like, again, I had to explain to somebody, if you were going to make a decision as a teenager to set yourself up for the future, there's not a whole lot of better ways than that. He graduated from school early because he was homeschooled. So as soon as it was time for him to step into the next phase of his life, he dove in, both feet, no hesitation. And it was uncomfortable for him. I know this because he's my son and I know him. I know how much flack he got from some of his friends. I know how much flack he felt from all the adults around him that was scared for him to make that decision. But he had a plan and he went with it. And I have to admire that just on a man-to-man scale. So when I say, you know, as men, we have to be decisive, that's what I mean. So that's why I had to force myself through all the discomfort of, like I said, not having the most polished look, not having the ability to sit down and edit and have a dedicated microphone and dedicated quiet space with no background noise, and probably having the camera be shaky, all that stuff that I really wanted to avoid. Everything around me was saying, just do it. Just get it done. So this is what I'm doing. So again, jumping back into the whole thing. Drive time is definitely something I'm going to do a lot more of. I got a few podcast ideas that I really want to do. I'm still completely undecided on a lot of things is how I want this to go, but I know that there's a lot of stuff that I want to say, and my goal has always been to put my words and my voice in a place where my kids can always get to me and my words long after I'm gone. And for all those people who didn't have someone around to give them those words as they were growing up, because I was a person who experienced that. I had a whole lot of male role models, luckily, that gave me those words of guidance and words of advice and everything like that. And so I believe that if you're blessed with that, you should also bless others with it. And I feel like I've been gifted with a lot of knowledge from a lot of very wise people. And the words of one of them, when I was in high school, Mr. Miles, each one teach one. So that's what this is all about. Like I said, I know my camera's wobbly. It's not gonna, I know I'm not gonna have the best editing and mic and all of that good stuff, but it is what it is. I have more polished stuff in the future, more organized or whatever, but I'll also want to keep doing this format, because like I said, it's something I've always really enjoyed, and so I wanted to get back into it, so I'm forcing myself to do so. So that's it for this one. Young men, young women too, but especially young men, be uncomfortable, be decisive, be uncomfortable sometimes, get out, get stuff done, and most importantly, as early as you can, build your village, build yourself, build around you a group of people, men especially, until men really, you're gonna have a wife eventually, so that's gonna be the person that gives you that womanly insight, and you'll have your mom before that, hopefully, but you'll have a wife, and you can have a couple, but usually you don't need a whole lot of input from women. That's what your wife is for. But get yourself a core group of friends that are your brothers, that you know will push you to be better relentlessly. Your friends don't care. Your friends will not care if you do great, because they're not going to always want you to outpace them. But if you get people around you that's brother status, like I have, and I just want to clarify something. Not that it matters to me, and not that it matters to them, but just to push home the point I'm making. My older brother that I mentioned, we have no blood relation. He's been my best friend since 5th grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, something like that. We're 43 now. The other brother I mentioned has been my best friend for about 15 years. Both of them stood up in my wedding. The second one, the younger one, is my daughter's godfather. I have no blood relation to these men, but they are absolutely, unequivocally my brothers, and they've never, ever not shown up to that label, ever. So when I say surround yourself with people like that, I mean, and they're not the only ones, I mean people who want to see the best out of you with no concern on what it means for them. And I don't even have to elaborate on that, because you're going to come across people where you will see exactly what the opposite of that looks like and what it means. So when people measure your success against them, your actions against what it means for them, rather than what it means for you. And like I said, again, I'm blessed to have quite a few people around me who have never wanted to see me fail and always push to see me succeed. Is the best way I can word it. So, I recapped a minute ago, but again, that's why I didn't want to do it this way, because it's unpolished, but it is what it is. Again, fellas, the two main things I want to focus on, that I meant to focus on, that I didn't have summarized because I did it just off the cuff. Build your village, because that is going to be your support structure that strengthens you, and they will also be a support structure for your family. I could elaborate on that, but I'm not going to because I'm almost at my destination. And be decisive. Be uncomfortable. Step outside of what feels okay. Be scared. But do it knowing that the benefits will always outweigh the negative feelings you have, as long as you do it right. And as long as you got that village, that network that I talked about, it'll always work out. That's all I got for today. Peace.